I don't know if there's ever been a more Pete Carroll pick than that.
When you just look at any of the highlights, everyone in Auburn in that defence followed him. As soon as he made a sack, everyone gathered around him and he was hyping everyone up.
Oh, I'm a massive on his hands. Anyone who hasn't watched the documentary, watch it just for the first 2 minutes. If you've ever seen a newborn baby with hands bigger than his head, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch the documentary. They are enormous, like dinner plates.
Pick number 37 into the second round now. Derick Hall, the outside linebacker / defensive end, probably more of an outside linebacker from Auburn. Interesting pick this. Few people on the fence. Is it a reach? Is it not a reach? I don't think it's a reach. Personally, I love Derick Hall. Past 3 seasons, he's had an 80 plus, a grade above 80 in pass rush on PFF. So he is a good pass rusher. Some people might tell you he's not. He's a very good pass rusher. 11 sacks last year. 8 sacks, sorry. 11 quarterback hits last year. 10 sacks the year before in 2021. The guy knows how to get to the backfield and make plays. Needs to improve a little bit on the run defensive side if he is to take the next step at the pro level, but there's no sign that he can't do that. But I mean, he's an absolute monster. I mean, he's 6'3", 6'4". He's so quick as well for his size. Just athletic traits that pop off the chart. But again, as I'm going to bring Mitch on to talk you through this if you don't know, but his character and the story behind Derick Hall is another massive reason why we've taken him, in my opinion. And as Pez has said, it reeks of a Pete Carroll kind of pick. And Mitch, do you want to tell us why?
Yeah, I can do that. So some of the listeners will have watched the Miracle documentary that the NFL made and put out before the draft, but it was a story about Derick Hall. So essentially, he was born 4 months premature. He was just under 2 pounds. Sorry, 2 ounce. 2 pounds. Just under 2 pounds as a baby when he was born. He was actually born dead as well. He wasn't alive when he was born. So he spent the first 4 months in an incubator and the first 7 years of his life unable to sort of go outside and do things like that. He had very bad asthma. Wasn't allowed to play sports or do anything like that. So he made it his aim from a very early age to catch up with the kids who'd already started school, that he wasn't allowed to sort of be around and interact with and have a proper childhood. So as you can see from his draft profile and things, by the time he graduated and entered the NFL, which is obviously an enormous achievement from his starting point, he graduated at the same age as everyone around him. It shows a work ethic and a drive and a motivation within him it's just a roaring inferno of motivation to make it, And I think when you look at this pick, some people say, "Oh, it's a bit of a reach. His ceiling's high, but maybe it's a bit of a reach." If a guy's got a high ceiling and he's got a motor like that when it comes to motivation, you tell me he's not going to make it. Why can't he get to that ceiling if he's got a fire like that burning within him? That's a Pete Carroll pick. I don't know if there's ever been a more Pete Carroll pick than that.
No, it's a good point. I mean, the story's excellent. The production in the last 2 seasons has been excellent. The character, the leadership is all excellent. Jumps off the charts. Josh, as an outside linebacker prospect, are you happy with this pick? Do you think it's a reach, or are you happy with this pick?
Based on who else was there, I was quite happy with it. I think he's going to add, and we spoke about this before we went on air, he's going to add good leadership because he was a defensive captain at Auburn. Like we said, it's a big, and as Mitch quite rightly pointed out, a big character pick for Pete and John. They're picking culture setters in these first 4. And he is a culture setter. The adversity that he's fought through to get to where he is. You look at the way he plays, look at the passion he has as well. People in Auburn, you just look at any of the highlights. Everyone in Auburn in that defense followed him. As soon as he made a sack, everyone gathered around him and he was hyping everyone up. I'm happy with it. I think it's going to be a decent change of tone off the edge. I think if you've got someone like your Nwosu or your Darrell Taylor, especially Darrell Taylor or Boy Mafe speeding around the edge, you've got a different bag of tricks coming from him. Well, so yeah, I'll take it. I'm all for more edge help and a bit more production, trying to win in any way possible, because there'll be games where Taylor or Mafe Taylor or Mafe are effective, and then there'll be games where Derick Hall is effective due to the guards or the tackles he's coming up against. So yeah, I'm absolutely fine with it.
We made a good point. Sorry, Mitch.
Can I just really quickly, because I feel like it ties in really well with what Josh said. There's a role in our defense which he can do really well, which is probably going to surprise you if you hear me say this. He could be really good cover for Jamal Adams. Guys played quarterback and wide receiver in high school. Big hands, really good receiving hands.
You love his hands, don't you?
Oh, I'm a massive on his hands. Anyone who hasn't watched the documentary, watch it just for the first 2 minutes. If you've ever seen a newborn baby with hands bigger than his head, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch the documentary. They are enormous, like dinner plates. They're huge things. But yeah, no, he's decent in coverage, but he's electric rushing. So if we lose Jamal Adams for whatever reason, I'd love to see him experimentally put into a position where he can use that twitchy speed and power as a supplementary linebacker, in the middle, but also box safety kind of look. Love that.
Interesting. I was just going to mention on the back of what you said there, Josh. I mean, some people might say, "Oh, he's an outside linebacker. Do we really need outside linebacker help?" Well, I would say, yeah, we do, because, like you said, Darrell Taylor, Boye Mafe, Alton Robinson, Nwosu, they're all. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to be in charge of making the tea in any of their households in case I get it wrong, because they're all big lads. But they're not monsters. Derick Hall is a monster. He's a different kind of outside linebacker. So that's why he's a proper mauler, proper disruptor. That's why he complements it so well, and that's why he fits so well, because he's a completely different type of outside linebacker than what we've got. Pez, you happy with this one?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. I think for me, what he brings is, like, you've covered everything really. But it's something what I've said in the previous pod, that he brings something different. His style's different. He's just a hitter. He's just a banger. I'd like him to bring Bruce Irvin back, just basically mentor him. I feel like they play similar games. Not to play, to mentor him.
Keep scraping Bruce Irvin off the street.
If you listen to me,
his nursing home.
If you listen to me,
train this guy. We'll give you a roster spot so you can mentor him.
Why not? Have you seen how fucking thin the squad is?
Have you seen how many edge rushers we've got? Yeah,
but they play very similar. So
Bruce Irvin, the life coach. I love it. Fuck him. Grades? What are we giving him? I'll start. B+. B+. Fair enough for me. Pez, what are you giving Derick Hall?
B.
B. Like it. Josh?
B+.
B+. Mitch?
Yeah, it's a B for me. Good fit.
Okay, all right. Fairly agreed upon on that. So we're in unison there. I like it, even if we're not so on Bruce Irvin, but we're in unison on Derick Hall.